All right, so we've been spending a lot of time lately focusing in on midpoints. Remember, midpoint is the location that splits a segment into two equal parts. So if we look at example A here, it says in the figure below, B is the midpoint of AC. So even if I'm looking at that information alone, we can identify what our line looks like. So it's saying that B is the midpoint or the middle of AC. So I'm going to put A on one side and C on the other. And again, it's saying that B is in the middle of point A and point C. So then it goes on to give us a little bit more information telling us that segment AB is 24. So I'm going to go ahead and label that down below, AB. And then it also tells us that BC is 8x. So there is an element of unknown because it uses a variable of 8x. And again, B is exactly in the middle. So if we're going to set up an equation to find the value of x, again, the definition of midpoint tells us that, hey, AB is going to be equal in length to BC because B is exactly in the middle. So to set that up, we would say 24 is equal to 8x. Then using what we know about a one-step equation, you should notice 8 and x has the operation of multiplication. So to get rid of it, we would use the opposite and divide on both sides. And you should be able to see that x is going to be equal to 3. So we worked on this up to this point last week. So we're going to take it a step further this week. So the next part says find the length of AB and BC. So again, find the length of AB. So whether you go back up to your picture or the written information, it tells us that AB is 24. So we actually don't need to do any solving for this one. We know it is 24. So I'm going to come down and say, hey, AB is 24. Now take a look at BC. BC, again, whether I'm looking at my picture and I can notice that it is represented by 8x, or if you go back up into your information, both lead to the value of 8x. So I'm going to write 8x there. Now we want it in terms of just a plain old number. So now if we think about it, we've discovered that x is the value of 3. So if I go ahead and evaluate it for x is 3, 8 times x or 8 times 3 gives us 24. Now just to kind of stop and take a minute and think about this, we said earlier midpoints cut something into two equal parts. So in reality, AB is 24. Guess what BC should be? 24. And we do indeed find that AB is 24. We just pulled it from a problem. When we evaluated for x equals 3, we also got 24. So just to note, the answers in this section should both be the same because, again, you're proving that both sides are equal. And then part C says, hey, find the length of AC. So find the distance of the entire segment. So if this side is 24, and we now know B is 24, BC is 24, you're simply adding those two segments together. So we would say 24 plus 24 is equal to 48. So the segment length between A, clear down to C, is a distance of 48. All right, let's take a look at one more example together. And again, these are going to be set up very similar to your practice problems for today. So the first task we're going to do is we're going to draw and label. So looking at information, it says, sorry about that, it says D is in the middle of CE. So I'd encourage you to first just kind of draw your picture using your letters. So D is in the middle of C and E. Then it gives us some algebraic information. Here are some numerical value. So CD is x plus 4. Here's CD, and it is x plus 4. So I'm just going to write that down below. And it tells us DE is 45. So from D to E is a distance of 45. So the first thing it's going to ask you is, hey, set up an equation and find the value of x. Well, again, midpoints mean that it cuts it into two equal parts. So I can put my expressions and set them equal to each other. So x plus 4 equal to 45. In this particular problem, we have x plus 4, so we would subtract 4 to get x all by itself, and you end up with x equals 41. So it's taking a step farther, finding the lengths of each side. So CD is over here on the left. CD is x plus 4. But remember, guys, we just solved for x. X is 41. So 41, I'm evaluating it, plugging in that value for x, and I find that CD is equal to 45. If I look at DE, here is my DE segment. There is no mystery to it. It just tells us it is 45. So again, looking at part B here, we already know midpoint cuts it into two equal sections. So the length of CD should be the exact same as DE. And then taking it a step further, and I actually have a typo down here, I wanted to find the length of the entire segment. So from C to E. We're going to find the length of CE. So again, I know that this left-hand side is 45. This side is 45. So you would simply add those numbers together. 45 and 45 is 90. All right, so those are the skills that we're looking to kind of put together from top to bottom. So drawing and labeling your line segment given the information, setting up an equation to solve for the variable, using that variable and the information given to find the separate lengths of each side of the segments. And then the last task there is to find the distance or the length of the entire line segment. So again, these are set up exactly the same for your homework task. So good luck. Reach out if you need help.